Divisional matchup. So they say that they're going to be close no matter what. I don't know about that one. What do you think about this one, Carmen? What is your matchup that matters here for Jags Texans?
Yeah, I try to get pretty specific here because it is a divisional matchup. It's also that the Texans are clearly the better team right now, all that kind of stuff. So I do think that there's some room for improvement between CJ Stroud and on third down and against especially this Jags third down defense. They are currently ranked 22nd
Hmm.
against or on third down, but CJ Stroud started really, really hot on third and fourth down, right? First couple games of the season, he was perfect, 9 for 9, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fallen off since then. And the Houston Texans, rather, they now ranked 20th in third down rate. And I thought that that was a kind of a huge drop off from the way that they started. So can CJ Stroud kind of get back to making those clutch throws on third down, making those clutch throws in the red zone? The Texans are still very good inside the red zone, tied for fifth, I believe, in red zone conversion rate. But they're going to have an opportunity against this Jags defense that hasn't been able to get off the field and to kind of get right and get back to what we saw out of CJ Stroud at the beginning of the season.
When I look at this, Jags offensive line is just not a good unit right now, and it's to the point where it's a problem where I think it could be a game wrecker. So to me, it has to be the
Mm-hmm.
matchup that matters because Cam Robinson and Anton Harrison like just straight up have to play better. I know Anton Harrison's been hurt as well, but when you just look at the Jags offensive tackles overall so far this season, they're 30th in pass blocking grade at a 48.7. The 31st in pressures allowed with 24. And then both Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson, both of them have 15 pressures on the season. So it's not like, oh, you can kind of game plan for one. You can put a tight end or the running back on one side to help chip or block these guys. Both of them can really get after you. So it's simply got to be the best matchup that we have seen yet from the Jags offensive tackles because the offensive line, I talked about it last week. This team has so many inconsistencies on offense. If it's not one thing, it's the other. It feels like it's unfortunately becoming a consistency that the Jags are not playing well along the offensive line, particularly at the tackle spot. So if that doesn't get better, I mean, last week we saw Trevor Lawrence. It's the Sam Darnold seeing ghosts kind of a thing, right? Where
Yeah.
he was sort of getting pressure, but not really, and he tucked the ball immediately and tried to run, and then he realized like, oh wait, the pocket is still here, and then he like thought about bringing the ball back up, but it's just he clearly does not trust what's going on in front of him, and the
Mm-hmm.
offensive tackles just simply have to play better because if they can't, and Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson can get after Trevor Lawrence by themselves. I think it might be a long day at the office for the Jags offense just because it has not been good throughout the first three games of this season. Who's your plus factor in this game?
My plus factor, and it goes back to the Texans, it's Nico Collins because it seems as though when CJ Stroud is really in rhythm and when he's being really efficient, it's because Nico Collins is having a field day. He's got 12 catches, gaining 15 or more yards, which is five more than any other player in the league, Nico Collins. 338 receiving yards, that ranks first in the league. And this is going to be an opportunity because the Jags DBs have recorded a 49.4 coverage grade this season, which is the
Yeah.
third worst in the NFL. So you're going to be putting, and that's not even accounting for Tank Dell. That's not accounting for Dalton Schultz. That's not accounting for half of any of CJ Stroud's other offensive weapons, Stephon Diggs. This is just Nico Collins, and specifically, when he goes off, that just seems to be spell a good day for the Houston Texans offense in general and CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I'm looking at Laramie Tunsil as my plus factor in this one because Tunsil it's not elite, but 82.2 pass blocking grade this season. That's top 15, I believe. That ranks 14th in the NFL amongst offensive tackles or all offensive linemen, I believe. And when you look at the Jags, they're sort of a one man show right here when it comes to getting after the passer along their defensive line, especially at the edge spots that would go up against one of those offensive tackles in Laramie Tunsil. Josh Hines Allen, 84.6 pass rush grade. He has a 17.5 pass rush win percentage. And then the other edge rusher is Trayvon Walker on 95 pass rush snaps. He has just 9 total pressures and a 9.5 pass rush win percentage. So if, we might get more of Allen against, the right tackle. And so it might be sort of a moot point. But at any point, if Josh Allen is rushing from Laramie Tunsil's side. If Tunsil can neutralize them, the Jags really haven't had much else along their defensive line to be able to get after the quarterback. So sort of what you were talking about with CJ Stroud and how he can be a little bit better. You talked about on third down specifically in those down and distances where it's obvious passing situations. If it's ever Josh Hines Allen versus Laramie Tunsil and Tunsil's able to slow him down, we're talking big time advantages in the trenches with both the offense and the defensive side of things for the Houston Texans. And so that part worries me. Can they really manufacture pressure if Hines Allen's able to take away, if Laramie Tunsil's able to take away Hines Allen?
And as long as Laramie Tunsil also doesn't commit false starts.
So. Well, look, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? You just, you got to get a little bit. It's, it's the Lane Johnson thing where like Lane moves a little bit before and people are like, is he jumping early? And then often, they're saying, no, he's not jumping early. He's just,
as good of it as I think that Laramie Tunsil is, he has had just a history of that for years now too. It's not just that they're like clamping down this year. I get that they're clamping down this year on that like kind of ghost movement, that ghost false start where like they're kicking out and all that other stuff that Lane Johnson talks about so much. But yeah, Laramie Tunsil, just come on, guy.